Hi friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So both Elon Musk and Donald Trump should step down. That's the subject of today's video, and it's funny because they're actually going to do an interview together tomorrow. What are they going to talk about? Who knows? I'm sure it'll be a wide gamut. We'll cover that. But I'm thinking about this topic lately because it's crazy. Our politics, our business, our markets, our daily lives seem to all intertwine these days, and there's a lot going on in the world. And I know I've been making a lot of videos lately, but there's just a lot to work through. First, the Elon Musk situation. It was interesting. Someone was writing in the comments that they were recently in Thailand and they saw like a whole bunch of BYD cars that, many Thai taxi drivers were writing and said things. They didn't see that many Teslas. I've heard this in other countries as well, because I asked you guys, hey, have you seen the BYDs and how do they compare to the Teslas, etc. And these days, it's really interesting because I track the Tesla community, and it's actually been quite a hoot to watch if you guys have been watching this thing. Basically, a lot of them are kind of torn of like, okay, we like Elon, but we can see that he's going, off his rocker. He's just tweeting out constant crazy stuff all the time. He's getting heavily involved in politics, and you may or may not agree with said thing, but like, you originally liked the guy because he's all about Tesla. But that doesn't seem to be the focus of it, right? And so then these people are torn because they also get paid by Elon, which is kind of a funny thing because there was an article in the Business Insider today about how people can't leave their job. They feel stuck. Why? Because, if there is indeed a recession coming, or, maybe not an official recession, but just a slowdown in your particular industry, you may hate your job, but you can't quit. The same way the situation with, say, the Tesla people, maybe they like really hate promoting Tesla stock at this moment in time. They feel stressed all the time, but they can't quit because Elon pays the bills, right? What are you going to do? And, I'm sure there's people in Tesla right now that feel the exact same way. They really like to leave, but it's like, where do you go? I mean, Stellantis is, they announced layoffs, I think GM, et cetera. I think Ford, it was a factory in like Michigan. So that's tough for them. And there's just not that much opportunity. And so then you're just like, okay, dang, my boss is a crazy person. The same way Mr. Bezos stories come out as he's being crazy as well, doing crazy stuff. And I know whenever we make these kind of videos, there's people who still love Elon, but just be honest, guys. If you love him for Tesla, he's not about Tesla right now. And the reason why I mentioned stepping down is because this happens in people's lives. You go through different stages in your life, right? And I've mentioned this before on the channel. Every 10 years is actually pretty healthy to go do something else. Just go find something else that really gets your passion, because doing the same thing year after year, it becomes a bit, stagnant, a bit stale. You feel like maybe you're not growing. And for someone like an Elon, right, he bought Twitter and maybe he really likes Twitter, and that's fine. You can love Twitter, your X platform, as much as you like. New social media thing is all new to you. You don't want to fail, right? This sort of, it's kind of like what's the right word to say, a bravado or an ego thing. And if that's the case, let someone else run Tesla. And I'm saying this is, I guess, a friend, a colleague. I'm not an investor in Tesla, but for people who are investors, right, this is something that you would be thinking about. Like, just go do your thing, but like put someone who's going to put 100% of their time, 100% of their focus on Tesla. And I don't think that's too much to ask. In fact, a normal board, right, normal board of directors would have fired a CEO by now. They'd be like, yo, dude, what are you doing? We need you at Tesla. So there's that. The other issue is the Donald Trump thing. There was a really funny article today that came out. The Donald Trump campaign, they were in Montana, and they played the music video of Celine Dion. The song is My Heart Must Go On, or Will Go On. That's the Titanic song, right? And Celine Dion issued a statement today that says like, yo, I'm represented by, Sony Music. You did not ask for our permission to use my likeness, my song, my voice, etc. And moreover, why did you pick Titanic? Because, it's a Titanic song. And does that say something, maybe it's something unconscious about the campaign, or maybe like someone inside the campaign, they're playing a kind of a joke on the Donald, who knows? But, this past week has been, in Donald's words, basically a disaster. It's a tremendous disaster, right? He's just got to step down. And, I know there's people out there in this community that watch the channel that are, say, lifelong Republicans, et cetera, and I think you can see it too. And guys, I've said this several times. I actually want a healthy candidate on the Republican side. I want healthy candidates on both sides. sometimes you get particular elections where it's just like, it's kind of obvious who you should pick. But, I think it's healthy for all of us if we have healthier candidates on both sides, because then it forces the other side to get a healthy candidate. Like, oh my God, this candidate's like really good. We better come with someone even better. And I just think it's kind of like this, like if you're preparing for a athletic, boxing match or whatever, and you know that your opponent is like really strong, then you train really strong, right? So I just think it's better for all of us if he steps down and just get someone else in there and have it a go. The thing with the Trump situation or the Elon situation, they surround themselves with yes people, and so very few people are willing to say, hey, time to throw in the towel, that's it. And I want to liken this way, to where, for those of you guys who use a sports analogy again, sometimes you have a quarterback, and we'll use the example of Biden. I said the same thing for a long time about Biden, like, he's just too old. I said it over and over again, and I was right. And I remember there was people fighting me in the comments, oh, Chris, you're so dumb. We have to vote for Biden because we can't have Trump. And they're just like, you can't have either, right? Not many people would actually say that, but that was the truth. And I'm telling you guys the truth right now. Say you're a Republican, you got to be honest with that. He's got to step down. The funny thing about it, though, is that at this moment, he's kind of angry. I've been reading about this stuff where he felt like he beat Biden, right? Which he did. He beat him in the debate. Biden did really, really poor in the debate. Trump won. And then, they had this whole campaign. Was it the, Republican National Convention, where they're basically attacking Biden for the 3 or 4 day period. And then they spent all this money, and then they, and we talked before, the Democrats didn't change the candidate, and then all that money spent kind of a waste for them. And then, Trump's like, oh my God, we just did that, and now I have to beat Kamala. So he feels like that the life is unfair, and he keeps crying, and he wishes Biden would come back. But that ship has passed, and so I don't think the Republicans can actually replace Trump at this point. I think they're just going to have to eat the loss. That's what happens, and I said this too before when Hillary ran in 2016. It's just Hillary wasn't a good candidate. The main reason why, and it depends how you want to find good, but I'll just put it this way: there's only so much upside for a candidate when you all know who he is or who she is. So for example, I have no idea who Walz was until just like a couple weeks ago, and he's got tremendous upside. The same way that Vance did. Well, I'll say this: Vance could have had a tremendous upside, but he kind of blew it. But this, when you're an unknown, you have upside, and also to be fair, you have downside. But to say someone like Mr. Trump, I mean, who doesn't know who he is? We all know who he is. So his upside is very, very limited. There's only so many more people you can bring in your camp. You're not going to convince anyone. We already know who you are. So there's that. The other thing when I'm talking about like the whole stepping down stuff is you have to be honest with yourself. And this could be with company, could be with investment, it could be with relationships, etc. And one of the things I was thinking about also this week is like Warren Buffett. He sells half his shares of Apple, right? He's just like, you know what? Maybe it's time to like not have a whole bunch of Apple in my portfolio anymore. Maybe Apple's time has passed. Maybe time to replace the quarterback. They made it all the way to the third quarter. But we need someone else for the fourth quarter. And that's the sort of thing that, think about with the Mr. Musk, with the Mr. Trump, with, Warren Buffett in the Apple stock or whatever. It's just sometimes things change. And I think in order to be successful in this world, you always have to be adapting to what the world really is, opposed to wishing and hoping the world was some sort of fantasy land the way that you want it, because life doesn't always work out the way that you want it. And the last thing I want to mention too is guys, I know that things can be really challenging for people out there. Like I mentioned in the Business Insider article where people can't leave their jobs. I know. And that would be really, really stressful. Like searches on Google for stuck at your job have skyrocketed, whereas like quitting your job have gone down, right? People just feel stuck, like, how can I cheer myself up if I'm stuck in my job? Those are the kind of people we're searching for. And my advice for you for these kind of things is, and this is for anything in life, is change your perspective on things, right? So maybe you're looking at the same thing all the time, and that's why you get the same answer. And also, too, talk to a variety of people. Sometimes you need a new and fresh perspective on something. So say, for example, Mr. Trump needs to talk to a different advisor or talk to a politician that maybe retired and hear about what life is like outside of politics. Hear about what life is like hey, I'm just here retiring on the beach, drinking, whatever Kool-Aid or whatever, and enjoying the sunsets and stuff like that. The Trump situation is a little bit different though than the average person. He faces all kinds of felony charges and stuff like that. So, maybe for him, he has no choice but to stay in order to stay out of prison. That's a whole other issue. But I'm just saying, for him, I think maybe he needs to swap advisors, or maybe the Republicans do. And it's the same for Elon. I think sometimes the best is for people, for the best of your friends or the best of people around you, is to tell them things that they don't want to hear. It may not make them happy, but it's what they need to hear. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this stuff, on why Trump and Musk have both stepped down. I know they're not going to, but I think this is a valuable lesson for anyone out there listening. So do appreciate your time, and catch you all in the next video.